Welcome, everybody, to In the Huddle. I'm Coach Jason Pahman, and joining me now is Coach Sam Adams from Oxford High School, Oxford Yellow Jackets. And Coach, a little bit different than our normal set. We're not in our studio, and I'm here in my office studio, and you're at the school there, and just had practice this morning, and we're going to talk about this week. But first, let's go back to last week and Pell City game and week before last rather, or Pell City game, and not only is a region game, but it's an important win for the school and the fans and the students because it's a rivalry game. They play Pell City every year, and the fans get into it a lot, and whether it's basketball, baseball, or football, it's always a big game for both teams. And talk about your week of preparation for Pell City, the game versus Pell City, and having to bounce back from Hartselle.
Yeah, it was a really important game for us, region standings wise. Kind of all but locked us into a playoff scenario. I'm sure there's some kind of mathematical thing out there that could keep us out, but put us in a really good position either way. And I thought our guys played the game really efficiently. We felt like going into it that we were the better team, and really proved that pretty quickly throughout the first half. And we're fortunate enough to be able to get a lot of guys in and get them some Friday night action in the second half, which makes your practices better the next week and helps everybody to feel like they contributed to the game. So we played really well on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and that's so important, being able to get guys into the game to build the team up and work towards next year and things like that. And they never know when they're going to be needed for this year. We've already seen several cases this year where had to have guys step in and fill roles, and have continued to do that. And there's been a lot of guys that's had to grow up quick this year, and started out young, but now they've got some playing time under the belt, and you're starting to see the continuity there that you were looking for, and the youth is no longer youth now that's been playing, and they're able to start that game against Pell City and execute, get their job done, and let some other guys play. And so that was real good to see there. You mentioned the region and the importance of that, and I think looking at a schedule wise, the off week that they had this past week and was probably at the best time could possibly happen. And I don't know if you agree with that or not, but played a tough schedule so far, and had a couple bumps along the way, and several key injuries along the way. And this time off that they got is very much needed to rest some bodies and rest some minds too, as well. Because leading up to football season during the summer, everything is so hectic, and then all of a sudden the games start, and you kind of get in a routine where it's 24/7 football, and it weighs on these kids' minds a lot. And we don't really understand the stress that these kids go through, and there's some that take it better than others, but it is stressful. There's a lot of pressure on them, and they're putting a limelight each and every week. And being able to be away from the game this past week, I think is going to do them very much needed good. Talk about that being off this week and what the plan was for this week, coming into a big important game this week.
Yeah, so in our open week, we practiced Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Had a JV game also on Monday night. It really shortened our practices up. We were out there a little bit over an hour each time, and tried to use the time to really focus on some fundamentals while refreshing ourselves physically and mentally and emotionally. And also got a little bit of game prep done for the Clay Chalkville game this week, which is obviously a huge one. But it was a very, very needed and well-timed open week for us. Our players got 4 days off in a row, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is the only time really since
before he started.
Yeah, since May or June, since we've had 4 days in a row where we've been completely off. And it's
Yeah.
good for coaches as well, because
Yes. Yes.
football is it's an emotional game.
Yes.
And being in that grind week in, week out, it can take a toll of you if you let it, if you don't take care of yourself physically and
Right.
mentally the way that you need to. And I feel like this week of practice, back in the Clay game prep week, we've had really good focus and really good energy out there at practice.
That's that's what you hope for, and I know you're expecting coming in practice. Had practice yesterday and practice this morning as we're recording this on Tuesday. But I talk about practice this morning, and Tuesday before Friday night's game.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what you normally do during this week on Tuesday.
Yeah, so our this week particular, our school is on fall break, so we're still
Yes.
on a different type of schedule than we normally are. Anytime that we can, on days or weeks like this or days like this, we practice in the morning. So
Yes.
everything we would normally do before school and after school, all in the morning time. So our kids have come in, they're here at 7 a.m. Monday and Wednesday, they'll be out of here a little after 10. Tuesday is always our longest day of practice. So today we finished up about 11:15. We've got a lift in and got some meeting time in before we went out to practice. And we'll have, one more day in shells tomorrow. And then we'll go just helmets Thursday. And then, Friday will be the game.
Going to Clay Chalville, such a huge matchup, huge game. Clay Chalville, one of the better teams in the state, no doubt. And going into this game, talk about where you think you are this part of the season. Is this what you kind of envisioned this team or these guys being at this point? I know you can't calculate injuries and things like that because they're going to happen. But at this point of the season, are you kind of where you expected to be? Are the kids kind of where you expected them to be at this point?
Well, they're, record wise, we'd like to be a little bit better off than we are. Most teams in the state say the same thing there.
Yes.
But I'm really pleased with how we have developed from the preseason up until now, and we set our non-region schedule up to be difficult. We don't go into it trying to find patsies to play that'll help us get to 10-0, because you don't get any trophies for being 10-0, right? You get trophies for the last game in December. So, part of the reason why we schedule the teams that we do, like the McAdories, the Huntsvilles, the Hartsvilles, is to make sure that if whatever warts we have are exposed long before playoff time rolls around. And, and it hasn't always gone our way every single week. But, all that being said, with what transpired last Friday while we were off, with Centerpoint defeating Pinson Valley in the region, that's a pretty huge shakeup.
Yes.
And as we speak here right now, we're in control of our own destiny. We can win the next two, being Clay and Centerpoint, then we'll be region champs, which is something that a lot of people had kind of written off for us several weeks ago. But our kids just continue to get in there and go fight. And, I think if you were to come out and watch our guys practice, there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of excitement. Our guys take great joy in just playing the game and preparing the right way and practicing the right way. And I think that's why we've been able to improve as the year has gone on. And this week will obviously be a huge test for us, as Clay Chalville has really quality players at literally every single position on the field. There's not any guys you can look out there and say, well, we want to kind of pick on this guy, or we want to, attack this or that. They're really well coached. So, those things that, we have in mind for our game plan that we think we can, exploit, it's not going to be something where we can just, wear that one thing out over and over again during the game, because, their kids are coached up and they'll have answers for whatever we try to do. And then, that's where the chess match kind of ensues. And those guys have just so much skill and power on the offensive side. They have receivers that can score from anywhere on the field. They're a really physical offensive line, good running backs, and they're really a run-based team that tries to take advantage of you when you get the matchups after they've established, when they get the matchups after they've established that strong run game. And so that's, we've got to work cut out for us defensively for sure. And offensively, Clay's, I believe, the number 1 or 2 scoring defense in the state. And after this game, we will have played 4 of the top 10 scoring defenses in the state in 6A.
Wow.
I don't know if anybody else could be able
to say that. That's brutal.
With McAdory, Hartselle, Pinson, and Clay. I mean, those are all 4, really stout defenses and really good teams.
Yeah.
We're just hoping that we'll play our best Friday night and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. When you talk about Clay Chalkville and you mentioned them being a run-based team, how important is it for, we've seen the adjustments that the Yellow Jackets have made since McAdory, working on different angles, working on tackling, and also getting some guys back healthy that's can help out on that defensive line. Had some key injuries early on in the season there, and had to move some players around. And Keenan Britt is one that comes to mind. He's kind of playing out of position, so to speak, but it has done a tremendous job. But being a run-based team, they're going to be dominant or going to be strong, trying to be dominant up front early on in the game. How important is it for that defensive line to have probably their best game this year, as well as the linebackers making those tackles?
Yeah, for the defensive line wise, we'd like to see those guys go out and make a bunch of tackles, but a lot of times their job is not really to be the guy that makes the tackle. It's to be the guys that eat the blocks and take up the gaps that they're supposed to occupy, and then have our linebackers and safeties be the ones that kind of clean that up on the back end. And it puts a lot of stress on you with the kind of players that they have on the perimeter as well. Because you can't really overplay one thing, run or pass against a team like this, because they can do both probably equally as well.
This Clay Chalkville team is kind of a accumulation of the last couple of years, 2-3 years, where these guys have come together now, and of course, they've been good in the past, but they've got a lot of veteran guys, experienced guys. You mentioned on the skill level guys, and they're big and strong. And looking at our offense as far as matching up against our defense, our offense this year to me has been, up and down at times, but the play of Mason Mims has been more consistent here of late. Made a couple of mistakes against Hartselle, but for the most part, that first half was real efficient. He's been efficient this year. I don't know what his percentage is as far as completion, but I know it's got to be up there. Mm-hmm. And he's a smart guy. Talk about the offense and your game plan basically for Clay Chalkville going in as far as the offense goes. Yeah,
I mean, it'll be really important to play well around Mason as well, and I think that's kind of what we've he's made a few mistakes as it's gone on, and but like not every interception is always a quarterback based interception,
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Going back to the Hartselle game, there was a one interception and another turnover. The turnover was just an errant throw. The interception was, we had a receiver that basically ran the wrong play and was blocking on a pass play, and that guy ended up picking the ball off. So
even on the errant throw there, that was behind the line of scrimmage, there could have been a couple adjustments by the receivers that were there to make some better blocks there, and that possibly wouldn't have happened.
Sure. Yeah. Mason's played really efficiently for the vast majority of the snaps for the whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at 73% completion.
Wow, that's good.
And that's, we're throwing it 20 something times a game. And then we're averaging right around 225 yards passing a game. And, he's really beyond his years as a sophomore quarterback, getting that kind of production.
Yes.
And he's asked to make decisions on virtually every snap of the game on offense, in the run game and the pass game. And we do a lot of the RPO type stuff where if we get the numbers and angles that we want in the box, then we're going to hand the ball off. And if we don't, then it's his job to get the ball where it needs to go on the perimeter. And he's done a really good job of that. And, and I think generally speaking, our receivers have played really efficiently all year long. We've had, we're leaning on a freshman running back right now with Caleb
Yep.
Winton, and he's splitting time in there with DK Wilson, who is another
Yep.
sophomore. And we haven't had a senior touch the ball since we played Huntsville back in the second game of the season.
Wow.
And that was when Sam Robertson had the big game, and then he goes out with an injury. So,
Yeah.
we're a young group. We do have 3 senior offensive linemen, and those guys have played really well. And I thought, last week against Pell City was the best and most efficiently that we have run the ball. And that was really good to see those guys, kind of step up and increase our run yardage a lot. We ran for over 200 against Pell City. It's the first time all year we had done that. And it's going to take a great effort from all 11 of those guys, or the 12 that we consider to be starters on offense, for us to have a good game on Friday.
How important is it at the start of the game, to establish a run against Clay Chalfel and control the ball and control the offense, where you're going to use that clock to your advantage and maintain and have good drives and long drives and good possessions. And I know we're counting on a 9th grader and 10th grader, but if you watch these guys run the ball, the experience that they've gained this year up to this point, they don't look that. They see, especially Caleb, to me, sees the field really well. And you mentioned a week or so ago about learning when to not overdo it, when to not try to extend the play when they don't need to, and things like that. Talk about the run game and how important it is for it to be effective against Clay Chalfel.
Yeah, one thing that's really hard for young backs to understand, most of the time when you have young backs that are contributing in a varsity game, they've been the stud all the way up through middle school and little league.
Yes.
And they've always been kind of the guy that could just bounce it outside and outrun everybody in the end zone. And
Right.
It's hard for those guys to learn that it doesn't always work that way on Friday nights when you're playing against the top teams in the state.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Caleb has really kind of come along in the last few games. He's been really more willing to kind of stick it in there and get what most people in the stands would, call an ugly 4-yard gain.
Right.
And it's going to be important for us to consistently take those in this kind of game where we stay in good down and distance situations. If we don't establish some sort of balance in there and make them respect the run and respect the pass, then it could be a long night for us. We don't want them just pinning their ears back and rushing the passer 800 miles an hour over and over again. And we don't want to allow them just to load the box up and outnumber us in the run game. So, it's always the way that we try to play here. Balance is a big part of it. We throw the ball around a lot, but a lot of times when we've been throwing it around, it's because that's what the defense has kind of given up or asked us to do. That's what we're going to try to lean on this week as well.
2 tough teams matching up against each other. A lot of times it comes down to special teams and turnovers. And talk about the special teams play so far this year. Are they where you expect them to be at this point? And the turnovers, are we improving in that battle throughout the course of the season?
Yeah, Ray Barrera's had a really solid season. He missed a few early on the first few games, but he's been really good on field goals and kickoffs in the last several games.
Yes.
We had some problems in coverage on kickoffs and punts a few games ago, and we've worked really hard over the last few weeks to get better on that. And that showed in the Pell City game.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have to punt very much, but we covered kicks pretty well. We put a lot of effort into our kickoff return as well. So we had kind of struggled on that for a few games, and we had one really long one against Pell City. And so I think, hopefully the things that we've put a lot of effort into improve in the last few weeks will continue to show in the coming weeks.
Got Center Point coming up after Clay Chalfel, and they had the luxury of just like kind of like you have before a tough game, taking a week off. They're going to have a week off this week, and I'm sure they'll be out scouting you guys and watching. But Coach Clay Chalfel, I can't I can't express to the Oxford people that's watching and the fans and that generally follow the games, and even some that maybe haven't been out to Oxford game this year, but the Yellow Jackets are going to need all the support they can get on Friday night going up to play Chaffel. And, nothing's better when you go on the road, a tough environment, tough place to play, then you got that crowd at your back encouraging you and fighting for you. And it just makes it easier to strap it up and step on that field when you're in somebody else's house. Talk about how important the Oxford fans are and how we need them to be there this Friday night.
Yeah, well, it definitely plays a part in the game. Just the energy that our guys feel from our crowd, home and away. It's something that can't be replicated in practice. And
Yeah.
the more people we can have there pulling for us, the better, obviously. And
Yeah.
I think, I'm sure Clay will have a good crowd there on their side as well. And up until now, at least, we've played really well on the road. That's when we've played our best games.
Yeah.
And and that's I don't really know the reason for that. But hopefully we can continue that trend and have a good showing on Friday.
I think a lot of that, and you may not want to admit it, but a lot of it has to do with coaching and being prepared to go on the road, because it's definitely a different environment. It's tough on the coaches trying to prepare for things off the field to get ready to go on the road. It's a lot goes into it, and it's kind of like making a movie. The production behind the scenes takes a lot of time to get ready to go on the road, and it's stressful and everything. So that's a sign of good leadership and good coaching to get these guys ready to go and get everybody prepared to go and they're on time, and the routines that you go through when you're on the road is different as well. All the pregame stuff is different when you go on the road. So that's a testament to you guys and everything. Coach, good luck this week against Clay Chalkville. Look forward to talking to you next week and continue this. And we'll be back in the studio next week. Have a good day of practice tomorrow, and then Thursday preparing for Friday. Good luck to you, and thanks for taking time out of your day today to join us.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
That's Coach Sam Adams with the Oxford Yellow Jackets as they prepare for Clay Chalkville this week. I'm Coach Jason Pahman, and we'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll have more here for you on In the Huddle. Congratulations, you are our Texas Roadhouse Coach of the Week.
Well, thank you.
And
appreciate that.
There's your gift certificate. You can take out the wife and Iceman and your oldest son there and the baby girl too, and take them all out to eat. Don't take the boys out, just take them out.
I appreciate that.
All right, Coach Steve Smith of Piedmont Bulldogs join us. And Coach, big win tonight over at Glencoe, and Glencoe looking for their first region win tonight, and very hungry, and I know you guys come off a big win against Westbrook Christian last week. Talk about this week of preparation going into Glencoe and what you guys focused on this week.
Well, we've been talking for the last couple of weeks about trying to work on us, try to improve, and try to be climbing that hill, so to speak, when we playing better balls the years going along. And I thought we played really well all the way around last week down at Westbrook, and had a good week of practice this week. And I thought we played well again tonight at Glencoe. All three phases, offense, defense, special teams, contributed. We got to play a lot of guys tonight, and very proud of our team and the effort the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, this season, only 2 non-region games throughout the season. Had the open week at the first of the year, and fell to Cherokee County the first game of the season, and then the tough matchup against Anston, which I tell you was one of the most remarkable games, high school games I've seen in quite some time. And both teams, it seemed like they poured everything they had out onto the field. It was a good matchup, good rivalry, and hopefully we'll have that game in the future. But you guys had to bounce back from that loss, and you could just see the disappointment in the guys' faces, because everybody on that team wanted to win, especially Jack, and as much as he poured into that game. But had to get back refocused and go to Westbrook, go to Westbrook and play, and then another road game at Glencoe, and talk about your team's mindset throughout the course of the year and how you've had to keep focus on region play is what's important. And we got to take care of these region games.
Well, after each one of those losses, you come right back with, after the loss to Center the first game of the year, then when you come back and you start region play, you don't have time for much of a hangover. You can't let one game beat you twice. And we were disappointed the way that one turned out. You got to move on, you got to pick up the pieces and go into the next one. And we started region play with two really good teams in Sylvania and Plainview right off the bat at home, so that helped a lot. And then we played Attahachie week 4, and then we had the big non-region game week 5 on a Thursday night up there with Anniston, and great football game. But at the end of the day, we came up on the short end of the stick. Anniston, hats off to them for the way they played. They got a great squad, and but there's no time to cry about it.
No.
You got to just pick your pieces up and go on to the next one. And coming out of that game, we had 2 road games back to back at Westbrook, who is a really good team, and then at Glencoe tonight, and the turnaround that they've been making with Coach Martin there, you can really see that team getting better and better each week. So again, as disappointed as we were after both of those losses, you can't dwell on them. And one thing I've been really proud of our team on, I think it has a lot to do with our older players, our leadership. We've got 20 seniors. They've been there before, been in a lot of close games, come up on the winning side in a lot of them, and come up on the short end a few times. And I think they really did a great job of getting everybody back refocused for the next game.
Yeah.
You tell your players all the time, next play, next game mentality.
Mm-hmm.
They did a wonderful job with that. Our coaches, come back with a lot of passion and a lot of eagerness to try to put those losses behind us, and really did a good job getting our guys prepared to play. And the guys, like I said, they went out the last 2 weeks, and I think we put together 2 of our more solid efforts, as far as all 3 aspects of the game.
The Bulldogs this year have had to turn into road dogs.
Yeah.
6 out of those 8 region games you talked about have been on the road. You got Geraldine at home next week, and then you go on the road to Hoaxbuff and Sylacauga.
Right.
And you guys are no stranger to tough games on the road, coming from behind in state championship games. But it's tough to go on the road, especially in region games week after week, and the schedule didn't do you any favors this week. Lining those all up like that.
Well, we started out, we played 3 of our first 4 home games, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the back end of the schedule, we're on the road 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it worked out this time, with the non-region schedule. Everybody's scrambling, trying to get games and doing what they can do to try to get whoever they can get on the schedule. And, it just worked out this year the way that the region draw fell, that we were at home a lot in the beginning of the season and then on the road the second half. And, we knocked out 2 road games the last 2 weeks. We do have a big one coming up next week with Geraldine. And, I think when I saw the scores, how everything fell tonight, pretty much that game sets up as a winner-take-all for the region championship, if I'm not mistaken. So, our guys got a lot to play for. It's homecoming week. That's never anything that a coach looks forward to. But, I talked about it with our kids in the locker room tonight before we all dismissed when we got back home. The big part, our part of homecoming is to win the football game.
Right.
And that's what we got to keep our focus on. There's going to be a lot of things going on throughout the week.
Yeah.
It's a different week, being out of school Monday and Tuesday, the kids are, just a lot of things that you can look at it. One way you can look at it as a distraction, or you can just look at it as an opportunity. And we're going to look at it as an opportunity with the kids, enjoying the time off from school the first couple of days of the week, enjoying all the homecoming festivities and things. But at the end of the day, I tell them all the time, nobody's going to remember a whole lot of the details of the week, but they'll remember who won the football game.
That's right.
And that's our job, is to go out there and put a good product on the field and hopefully come away with a win against a very, very good Geraldine team.
Yeah, and with the region championship on the line as well, too. And with the seniors that you got, you mentioned 20 seniors. Right. The focus, I'm sure, will be there. Talk about those 20 seniors that you've got and their leadership that they've provided, not only this year but throughout the years. Talk about some of those guys, those key guys on the team.
Yeah, those guys, they're a bunch that we've watched grow up from, youth league ball, park and rec, little league baseball. This team, this group of kids has had a lot of success their whole life. Some of the funnest memories I got of them, is the going to the World Series with Little League Baseball over in Mississippi when they were able to win the state, and then watching them come through the Youth League football and the championships and middle school, and a lot of these guys, kind of we do some things with kids in 5th and 6th grades, our managers, and I think, we looked at it at one point in time last year, I know, on the team, and then this year we had about 20 kids on the team that were managers when they were in 5th and 6th grade. And, just to watch them grow up, it's kind of bittersweet in a way, because you've seen those kids go from just being, 4 and 5 and 6 years old to 17, 18-year-old seniors now, and having an opportunity to play for championships a couple times already in their career, and just always been in the hunt. That's the goal every year, is to be in the consideration and the conversation about teams that are going to hopefully be around come late November, early December. And our guys, that's kind of the mindset that they have. I guess one of the things that I like the most about them, they, as heartbreaking as a couple of the losses have been over the years, they usually are really resilient. They bounce back. They get ready to play the next game, and they're a very, very fun group to coach.
Yes.
If I started trying to name them off by name, I'm sure I'd miss somebody. But just a lot of them bring a lot of things to the table, and the thing I love the most about them is they're Piedmont first. They want to win games, and who all gets the credit and all that other stuff really is secondary. So it's really, really fun to have a team like that believes in team.
Yeah, this group, like last year's group, remarkable bunch of seniors, have won a lot of games, like you said, a lot of the sports. And I remember this group back when they were 10 and coaching against them as a Piedmont All-Star team. And Jack and Max and Iceman were in there, and Jack hit one. I think we were playing up in Center, or it may have been Piedmont's Park, one of the two, but hitting it so far back in the pine trees. I remember his daddy or somebody going out there trying to find that ball, and it wouldn't be found. I think it's still traveling to this day, but just an awesome group of guys, and won a lot of ball games, and a great group of seniors. Coach, good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Good luck next week against Geraldine, and hopefully you'll make it through the homecoming week. I know it's going to be stressful on you, but maybe you can take the family out to Texas Roadhouse. One other thing, Coach, Piedmont Bulldogs will be our Pigskin Roundup Team of the Week this week.
Thank you.
So congratulations for that. As you see, Cutter's Pizza Team of the Week, Piedmont Bulldogs, and Wards member will have a plaque that I'll bring out to the pep rally next week on homecoming pep rally. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
And we'll also bring pizza out to you one afternoon next week after practice.
Sounds great.
So congratulations.
Appreciate that.
All right, that's Coach Steve Smith of Piedmont Bulldogs, and we'll be back shortly here on Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Welcome back to Pigskin Roundup. I'm joined now by Coach Jonathin Miller of the Sachs Wildcats, and J.J. Waters of the Sachs Wildcats, and Darius Foster as well. And guys, congratulations on a big win tonight. Coach, let's get right into it. First of all, let's back up a little bit and talk about the season and how it's went so far. Had some big wins and kind of up and down so far.
Yeah, we've had some tough losses, and on the road especially. We've had trouble on the road. Played some good teams too on the road. Our schedule was not favorable for us this year as far as the balance with home and road and the top teams in the region. So that's no excuse, though. We're a senior group, and I think we're going to regroup. We got an off week next week, and then a big game versus Welborn.
Yeah, that game last week versus Randolph County. Randolph County coming in the game undefeated, and you've already were tested up to that point. And I didn't think that Randolph County was tested at that point, but met a good Sachs team coming in, and y'all went back and forth through the game. Talk about at the end of the game and then in overtime what transpired in that point.
Well, we were up 34-18 with about 7-8 minutes to play. We got a stop around midfield, got the ball back, had a nice run deep inside their territory, and got it called back for a penalty. So we got behind the chains a little bit, ended up having a punt, pinned them down inside the 20. We felt good about ourselves at that point, and they got us on a pass play. We missed a tackle or two, and that led to a touchdown for them. On the ensuing kickoff, we did not get on the ball.
Yeah.
we kind of froze up a little bit.
Yeah.
Ball checked up, kicked it over our heads, and checked up on about the 2-yard line, and
Right.
we just didn't handle that situation very
Right.
well. And they ended up getting a safety there on that play, and we had to kick off to them from the 20, of course.
Yeah.
And they went down and tied the game, missed the PAT, so we go to overtime. In overtime, we get the ball score first.
Yeah.
Made the decision to kick the PAT. We knew that they were going to go for 2 if they scored, but
Yeah.
we felt good about our chances to stop them. And I think they scored on 2nd or 3rd down, went for the 2, and God didn't beat us. It was a tough loss for us. And we had so many chances to win the game. We have nobody to blame but ourselves. And hopefully we'll learn from that and move on the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much was a playoff game, top atmosphere there. That caliber team is what you're going to face in the playoffs. So I do think, that was good for you guys to go through that and, humble you down a little bit. Davil game was a tough game, and then you played a very tough game against BB Comer, where BB Comer coming in, a lot of momentum coming in, and you guys played just dominated in that game. Defensively did a very good job against BB Comer. So the season's been going along, in my opinion, pretty well because of what you lost last year and able to put together this team this year. You mentioned Welborn. That game coming up in a couple weeks, and at Welborn or is that at Sachs?
Is it Welborn?
At Welborn on the hill. So you know all about that. It's going to be a big game, big time atmosphere. And I know these guys are getting excited about that.
It is, and I think having an off week for us to regroup a little bit is going to be big for us. We're at this point everybody's banged up. We're no different, so hopefully that'll help us. We're going to practice 3 times next week. Take a little time off and have a little extra time to prepare and. Hopefully go over there and play a really good Welborn team and play them well.
Guys, I got Darius Foster and J.J. Waters here, and both you guys being seniors. It feels good going in the off week with a big win, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Darius, you're defensive end and left tackle, and pretty much no, that's J.J. You told me that you play nose guard and center. That's right. But you play anywhere on the line. You can play anywhere on the line, and to be that versatile on the line, you're just one of those type of guys that coach asks you to do something, you're one to do it.
Yes, sir.
Talk about your role on the offensive line and being the leader on that group.
I mean, you gotta go in there and work hard and show the young ones that came in. You gotta show them that you gotta put in the work to be a successful team as we was last year.
Right.
And I mean, every day you have to come in there with a good mindset.
Yeah, in the tradition that Sachs has, especially since Coach Miller's been coaching there, is that, we're going to have winning seasons every year, and we're not going to regroup. We're going to reload. And you guys had to pick up that slack from last year after having a 10-win season, and really toting the load this year. Jeremy, or JJ, talk about your role as left tackle and defensive end, especially the defensive side. Sachs always known for having a good defense, has had several good defensive performances this year. Talk about some of the games this year and what your role is as an end.
Say left end, pretty much hold down the side of the line I'm on. I can play either side. Sometimes get put at nose.
Yeah.
Hold on. Take blocks for our backers most games. Not really get back there for tackles a lot, but I make sure to try to eat up as many blocks as I can for teammates around me to get as many tackles.
Definitely going. I know you're glad going into the off week with a win, and it makes Coach a little bit in a better mood, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, it does.
All right. When y'all come back after the break, you'll have Welborn,
Yes,
and you guys know all their players on their team. They know y'all, and friends off the field. But once you get on the field, it's going to be a war. Talk about that game, you guys, and what it means to you, especially seniors. This will be your last regular season region game, I believe, and talk about what that game is going to mean to you guys.
Believe we're playing at the Hill. Know a lot of people that are going to be there. People on the team. It's going to be a tough rivalry team. Welborn is pretty good every year. It's going to be a tough game with them. And we have a chance. They have a chance. It's going to be a football game.
Yeah, it's going to be one that you'll remember. Whenever you think about high school football in this area, you think of Death Valley and you think of the Hill and you think of Sachs down below the hill there. So to be able to play there in your senior year, it's going to be a fun atmosphere, and we're looking forward to being there as well. Coach, what's your goal for preparation this week? I know you mentioned you're going to practice 3 days. Are you going to implement the game plan this week, or is it going to be kind of a refresher, get people healthy, and just stay focused on fundamentals?
We'll implement parts of the game plan. We'll probably work and go over their base plays and things like that, and maybe some new things that we might implement on offense. And but the big thing, I think, it gives us a chance to regroup. We played 8 straight weeks, bumps and bruises. We get to heal up, rest, take a little time away. So I just think it's coming at the right time for us.
Yes, I think so too, because like you mentioned earlier off camera, we were talking, the numbers this year kind of down after the 10-win season last year. Graduated a lot of seniors and don't have a lot of depth this time. So if you're not bumped and bruised at this point, you're not playing too hard, or you're not playing at all. So I know these guys are going to be looking forward to this off week. Coach, good luck the rest of the way. Good luck in a couple weeks against Welborn, and look forward to seeing you guys in the playoffs.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes, thanks for being here. That's Coach Jonathin Miller, J.J. Waters, and Darius Foster of the Sachs Wildcats. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more highlights for you, more scores here on Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Dr. Pepper.